live audio wrestling.
And let's go. We're now smoking with the best.
Welcome back. It's hour 2 of The Law, and that means we head to San Jose, California to chat with the editor of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer. We got to watch a TNA pay-per-view tonight, and up till a few days ago, we didn't know this was going to happen, did we?
No, I think they got the money Thursday or Friday.
Wow.
They got some money Thursday, I know, but even on Friday, that wasn't for sure. But they told everyone to go, and there was a show, and somebody put up money, and we still don't know who it was that put up the money. Billy Corgan was saying it wasn't going to be him, maybe it was. I mean, because if he wants to buy it, it would have been real bad had this show not happened and these tapings not happened, because then all their contracts would be screwed up. They would have breached. So it behooved them for somebody to put up the money, but no announcement of sale today. Nothing.
So just to make it clear, Dave, they're going to do all the taping this entire week, and that will probably carry them to the end of the year?
Till the end of November.
Till the end of November, okay.
Yeah.
So they've got until then to kind of figure things out.
So now they've got till the end of November to get everything straightened out, because everything will be taped, yeah.
Interesting.
So it bought them time.
Right.
For throwing a pay-per-view together, what kind of had to be at the last minute as far as getting people there. I'm sure they had a plan in place, but what did you think of tonight's show, Dave?
It was a mixed bag. The X Division match was with DJZ and Trevor Lee was pretty good. I liked the Hall of Fame segment a lot, and the rest. I mean, the Great War was entertaining for what it was. I thought it went too long, and some of the in-ring, especially at the beginning, wasn't good. But it was really creative and funny and everything. So in that sense, I think it was successful. The rest of the show, I would say the rest of the show pretty disappointing though. I mean, just not a lot of crowd heat and the matches. The other matches were like Bobby Lashley and EC3. They booked a big show main event, but it just felt like those two guys. I've seen both of them in much better matches. It just seemed they were both way off.
That's funny because we've been pretty positive towards the show tonight, actually. In particular, the Great War being very entertaining. We thought it kind of whizzed by. And I think one of the things that goes on with TNA and even with Ring of Honor, you're dealing with, an hour of TV a week, TNA 2 hours of TV a week. You only have these pay-per-views with TNA once every 6 months and not overwhelmed by content. So I think we're kind of gentler towards the product because of that.
I don't know. I just didn't think. I thought a lot of the matches were, they were there. I mean, again, I think maybe some of it, maybe comparing to Ring of Honor, where every match was good to great.
Yeah.
And to me, in this one, like the weakest match at Ring of Honor would have been probably the third best match on this show, and second best if you don't, because the Great War wasn't really a match. It was you can't really compare like pre-edited stuff. Where you can do multiple takes and things like that, and compare it to, a live wrestling match. They're different animals. But I mean, aside from the X Division match, I mean, there was nothing on this show that would have even been, as good as the Bobby Fish match with Dijak. And
I think it's pretty hard to compare the two, though, really, Dave. I mean, it's almost apples and oranges. I mean, our ROH has a much more, talented roster than what we have to work with TNA. True, but I don't know. They didn't really get, the crowd wasn't really that knew a lot of the stuff, and it just wasn't really like, it wasn't good wrestling in too many of the matches. It was, and some of them was okay, but again, I just thought the main event, they were out there kicking out of finishers, and they were doing everything that, they laid out the WWE pay-per-view main event, but man, the selling and the punches and everything, they were in the wrong spots, and I thought it was pretty bad. I mean, especially, I've liked Lashley, but he just, I don't know. It was, he just, maybe it was working with EC3, but it just wasn't any good.
All righty. Going on from there, though, Alberto Del Rio, tonight he had a no-show, as I saw you tweet about. What's the situation you think going on with Alberto?
I don't know what's going on, but this was one of their big shows of the year. It was Heroes and Mortales, and they announced that they would have a press conference tomorrow to explain, but he was the big star on the show. So it looks real bad for AAA. AAA's been having a tough time anyway. They have a lot of financial issues anyway, and I don't know. It could be Alberto's fault. It could be their fault. I don't know which it is at this state. I just know he didn't come. So it's early to lay blame. I'm sure they'll both have their stories out tomorrow. I don't know. The truth would probably be in the middle, I would think.
Well, will that be it with him in AAA, or is this just a blip?
Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, look what he did a year ago when he walked out without dropping the title, and they gladly took him back. So I don't know that it would be it, but I think with him, the one thing is that he's looking for a lot of money per show, and they don't have a lot of money right now. So he's kind of priced himself out of the Mexico market, it looks like, for the most part.
He seems to have a somewhat strange business sense sometimes when it comes to making these deals and then not showing, or like you say, booking himself out of everybody's price range.
Yeah, he had that show in Yakima that was built around him, and he pulled out of that one as well against Ray.
Yeah,
so
strange.
And it could be, he's getting a big deal with Combate Americas, where he's going to be the front man for the company, kind of like their Dana White. So it may just be that he's looking at, I've got this deal, so, I don't feel like working, doing wrestling, then who cares?
Another former WWE talent was in the news a little bit this week as well with Ryback. Scott Coker said they've had preliminary talks with Ryan Ryback. What do you think? Do we see Ryback in a Bellator cage?
My gut says no. I feel it was like something that they wanted to talk about. Scott Coker could go he's been interested in doing some pro wrestlers, but CM Punk was a much bigger star, obviously, than Ryback, and he was interested in Del Rio, but Del Rio has a legitimate MMA background, and I think that Coker kind of this week was talking and goes we probably would want someone who at least has an amateur wrestling background or some jiu-jitsu or something, and he doesn't really have that. So I just don't know. And it's not like some guys, like Punk, for example, really wanted to do it. And my impression from him is that he was certainly willing to do it for a lot of money, but it's not like it's something where I've got it in my soul, I've got to do MMA. He was probably just looking at the idea of, hey, maybe I can get a lot of money doing MMA because Punk did, and we'll see how it all transpires. But if I'm going to guess it doesn't happen.
Well, maybe if we could get Punk and Ryback to have an MMA match together based on their past history, that might be something.
They're only 90 pounds apart. Or
Let's fight at a catchweight.
That's Scott Coker style. He likes the freak show matches.
Yeah, Japan. They could do it in Japan, I guess.
Yeah.
Perfect. This week, Jamie Noble was in the news. Unfortunately, he was stabbed. What's the story here, Dave, with Jamie Noble being stabbed, and what is his current condition?
I don't know details, but I know it's worse than being let on, because I heard that the stabbing, the way I heard it was that the knife went through the spine and the lungs.
Yeah.
So he's in the hospital. It was on Wednesday morning. He had just driven back from Cleveland from the TVs. And I guess he went out to get, I don't know, he just went to the store and then came back, and some guy in a car jumped out of the car that was trailing him, and you cut me off, and he was trying to apologize, and then the guy just was real rude to him, and I guess the guy had two friends in the back of the car, as backup, and they started arguing, and it turned into a fight, and Noble got on top of the first guy, and then somebody jumped from the back with a knife and stabbed him twice, and then they all drove off, so it's really terriable situation.
It's
really bad.
It is. It sounds like insane road rage carried to the infinite degree. That's insane.
Yeah, he was just unlucky to be in, from the police report, it was like he was, he wasn't even trying to do a confrontation, and he was just trying to defuse the situation. And I don't know, it was in the morning. It was on Wednesday morning. It wasn't like it was 2 a.m. and it's drunk.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's just a weird, bad situation.
I wonder.
For all we know, most likely they didn't even know who he was.
See, that's actually, I was just going to say that. I wonder if they did know who he was.
I don't know, because they sped off and no one's caught him yet, so no one knows for sure.
Yeah, because there's always that thing with guys thinking they can take on wrestlers or whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah. It is possible. Yeah, but it didn't. I don't know.
And he's still in the hospital now, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. That's hopefully things work out for him. That's a terrible story.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk a little bit of MMA before we go, Dave. Big week for UFC 205, which looks like about 3 pay-per-view cards on the same card. You have on the first match of the night is going to have Liz Carmouche in it, who at one point was in the main event of a UFC card.
Not just a main event of a big drawing show.
And she is the curtain jerker on this card. That's insane.
Yeah.
This press conference was amazing. Conor McGregor, once again, excellent. Everything you could ever ask for. He went to the press conference this time properly. And there was no bottle throwing.
He wasn't that late either.
Oh, very good.
Although he was late.
Of course. Has to be. Fashionably
late, yeah.
It looks insane, Dave. This has got to bust every record that the UFC has.
I would think so. I mean, the one thing is that, they had that one incident with the bottle throwing with the last Diaz fight, which really led to setting a record. And I don't anticipate that. Somebody said that, Dana, grabbed his energy drink can at one point, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, but the thing is the depth of this card is just so unreal. I mean, we thought UFC 200 was a loaded show, and this is a lot more loaded than UFC 200. 3 championship matches. Guys like Frankie Edgar and Rashad Evans, I mean, big-time stars, Misha Tate, all in prelims. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be a heavy-duty show. Any early predictions on the buy rate, Dave? Does this one, like Jay said, it's got to be one of the biggest shows ever?
You never know until the week of and all the buzz, but I think with New York and everything,
right?
I've got to think 1.75 million.
Wow.
In that range. I mean, and maybe more.
Wow.
Because there's going to be so much more publicity to this show by being in New York than any show they've ever done.
Right.
Plus, it's loaded. Plus, Connor's going to be on fire that last week. So, and Eddie was good. And then you still got Chris Weidman on the undercard, which is good for New York, and because I really see the big difference is going to be in New York City, which usually does okay for UFCs, but I just think that they're going to be on fire for this one, and it's such a big population base, and then everyone else is going to be way up from normal anyway, just because of the card. So yeah, I think it'll be a record. I think the gate will be a record. It's going to be all the gate. I don't have a number yet, but I think the gate beat the Toronto gate already.
Oh wow,
yeah.
And it's a much, much smaller place as well. These ticket prices are
probably 17,000 tickets or 18,000 tickets.
Oh, wow.
And ticket prices are ridiculous for this.
Yeah, you couldn't get... I just was looking at the secondary market, and the cheapest price was $930, and there's 26 tickets under $1,000 that are available right now.
Insane. Absolutely insane. Who are you picking next week, Dave? Henderson or Bisping?
Bisping. Henderson can win because he can always win. He's always got that chance, but I just think he's too slow, and I think that Bisping's just got to avoid that right hand, and he'll win by points, which is, I think, what will happen. I don't see him knocking Henderson out.
Right. Well, his chin hasn't been all that great as of late.
Yeah, but again, if he gets lax for even a split second, it could be very bad for him. Because, and in all the Henderson fights that we've seen, even when some of the ones that he loses, he does when he hits you, man, it's bad news.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, it'll be interesting to watch that rematch of UFC
I'm looking forward to it.
100. Dave, what's in the Observer this week?
I was going to do, I've got a Hall of Fame story that was supposed to be in last week's issue, coverage of all of these shows coming up. And just all the, I don't know. The TNA news, I was waiting on Tuesday for the damn thing to break, and it still hasn't broke. So it's going to break Monday or Tuesday, or maybe it won't for a couple weeks. Now that they got time. Seriously, it may not break till November.
Well, they're going to be busy with tapings now too, right?
Just watch
out.
They're
going to be they're taping every night. Yeah. So
just watch out for those smashing pumpkins flying through the air.
Yeah, wasn't that something? Actually, I thought that was pretty funny. Actually.
Yeah. It's a nice little touch tonight. All right, Dave. Well, we'll talk to you next week after No Mercy at this very same time.